How was the Hall of Fame?
Awesome. Really awesome. Got to see a lot of folks I hadn't seen in a while, including TLR. And Roland's just an awesome guy, and I thought his speech was one of the best I've ever seen from the Hall of Fame. Very happy for him. I thought the hilarious part was throughout his entire career, he hated doing that stuff, talking about himself, having the focus on him, but he was so appreciative of the Hall of Fame, and it's such an honor that he was forced into embracing that role, and I thought it was hilarious. But I thought he did a great job. Cooperstown is beautiful. I'm going to take E and Tyler there after the season. It's really a cool little town. The Hall of Fame is great. Everyone was nice. So it was a nice trip.
Jim, hello, it's Cole here. Was Scott Rowland aware that you were including him in TikToks? It looks like you were kind of like hiding the camera a little bit, and I couldn't tell if he was aware of the shenanigans that were going on.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What are you talking
Am I
about?
crazy? Didn't I see that you had a TikTok with Scott Rowland that where you greeted him? Am I crazy? Or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, I wasn't hiding it. Like, I was shooting him coming into this little area to play golf, and that was the first time I saw him. So out of respect, I stopped the video and shook his hand, and he hugged me. But I wasn't like I was hiding it. Cole, that video was not like 200 wins.
No.
A huge deal?
Yeah, exactly.
Cole, what's wrong with you? I saw your tweet.
We can start out
I saw your tweet.
What was the tweet?
What'd you tweet, Cole?
I didn't see it. Did you chirp
like-
200 wins?
Of course I did.
Oh, my
Oh,
God,
let's see this.
Jimmy.
Let's check it out.
Justifiably so.
I just saw it as I was sitting here waiting for you guys to call, and it was like, did you say like 200 wins is like the pepper grinder?
Yeah.
Oh.
What an awful take.
God.
Here's what I said.
What did you say?
I said 200 is an arbitrary number. It's a cultural norm to enjoy numbers that end in zero for aesthetic reasons. That does not make them much more significant. If Adam Wainwright gets 200 wins, neat. If not, nothing changes. Pepper grinder, burger phone, and 200 wins. Hashtag cutesy Cardinals.
Whoa, Cole.
So stupid. I don't like to name call, but first off,
I like it.
like I get it that you like to, that you like to be kind of a troll. You like to play the role of like the angry 64-year-old guy. I get it, but I don't like 200 wins isn't cutesy Cardinals. It's been a standard. Yeah, it's sort of a well-rounded number, so I get that people are drawn to it. But it's like 20 games, 100 RBIs, 200 wins. You could say all that's stupid, but it has nothing to do with a burger phone. I know you like to troll. It's just a really awful take, and I love you. But, 200 wins has been sort of a milestone, not just for Waino, but, in baseball, a milestone that, people think that's sort of the goalpost for for pitching. What does that have to do with the pepper crust? Knock it off.
It was actually.
You know what else you said? Then you know what else you said? You're pro fan.
I am pro fan, just not in that exact moment. I was actually defending.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
What does it mean, Cole?
It means that I think fans are. Well, I don't really know, but it made sense in my head. I don't have a definition for it. However, I'm just
pro fan. Fans aren't like one block.
I think of fans
are
first.
all over the place. Fans are all over the place. Like being pro fan is like being, I don't know, like pro human. Oh, okay, you're pro. There's a wide swath of what fans are. So I didn't really understand what that meant. So I thought maybe you got into the cooking sherry before
My take was actually a defense of Adam Wainwright. I was basically saying that the Cardinals fans, or just baseball fans in general, should view Adam Wainwright the exact same way now versus when he reaches 200 wins. So in a way, I'm saying you should already view him like a 200-win pitcher because he's kind of already there.
Wait. Do you honestly think it's just... It's, I get it. Like, if you never knocked in 100, but you knocked in 99 runs 4 times, people are like, hey, you never knocked in 100. They don't really look at someone that differently, whether they won 198 and 200. It's just sort of a signpost for, this guy was a pretty consistent big league starter. I don't know.
But then why is
I
the-
agree, though. I will say this.
why has the whole season been wrapped around this, though, if it's not that big of a deal?
It's more important than the season.
Well, because they've been awful, Cole. Because they've been awful, and there's not a lot to play for right now. And so people want to see Waino get 200. I don't say the whole thing is wrapped up in it, but if you recall last year, they had the nice farewell tour for Yadi and Albert, and I think there's a lot of Cardinal fans who appreciate what Waino's done that would like to see him, right off into the sunset with 200 wins.
Yeah, Cole.
Am I wrong?
I agree more with Cole's second tweet, which is there probably were voters who would have put McGriff in earlier if he had 500 homers instead of 493. I think for some people, that's an iconic class. 300 wins, 500 homers. I do think like Jim Edmonds. If Jim Edmonds had 400, there's just some numbers I feel like when guys are tweeners, I do think it helps a little bit.
Okay, but so that's the burger phone?
No, I said his McGriff tweet.
No, making the
He was just trolling. He's just all he does is
He's
trolling. Come on.
troll.
it was a little bit of that.
He's Cole the troll.
Also, just making the entire
that's a
season
good
about
one.
the 200 wins, that was the cutesy part that I was talking about when I didn't think that it was that significant because I think he should already be viewed as basically a 200-win pitcher.
Well, I do. If you have 198, I think most rational people would say you are basically a 200-win pitcher. Exactly. I think.
Question: does he need to get traded though now that his value is sky
So
high,
high.
so that he can get his 200 wins elsewhere with a bullpen that won't blow all his leads?
Last night was a rough go for the bullpen, and listen, that Stratton has value, but maybe it was diminished a little bit last night. That was. Listen,
Is that a joke?
Milwaukee is that was a shot because I did like that on our group text that Cole came in on you on that one.
Well, he's wrong on that. How much you want to bet
They're,
Stratton gets
I
traded
agree.
to a contender?
For nothing.
Don't, Charlie. I'm not trying to take away your W. I agree with you.
Just watch,
Agree with
folks.
you.
Just watch.
A joke. I'm not taking away your W. You got a W.
I earned that W, baby.
But the Brewers won last night, so they're still 11 back. They got the win. I thought Goldie was just oozing with personality in his post-game interview. You guys didn't see it because it was probably late there. But they're still 11 back, and they're still way under 500. But who knows? But that pepper grinder and that 200 wins in the pepper grinder made me laugh.
Cole the
Just made me
troll.
laugh.
And he tagged Waino. I hope Waino responds.
Oh, man.
I hope Waino
I
responds.
hope he blocks me. That'd be funny. Just for show content
Wait, why
purposes.
did you Cole? Usually you don't tag people. Usually you just want to snipe.
I kind
From the
of
rooftops.
for show
then
content
hide.
purposes, I wanted him to block me. No other reason. Also, like I said, it was a pro Waino tweet actually, so I thought it was fair to tag him.
All right.
Hey,
I
Jimmy,
just thought it was funny.
we were talking about our least favorite athletes ever. Not because they beat your team, but just maybe they just weren't good guys. Like you got like a top three. Anybody that stick out in your head that you've been around for a long time. Any top least favorite athletes?
My least favorite athlete ever is Tino Martinez.
Ah, he got a lot. He got a lot of pub today from that.
Text line said
Why
that a
is
lot.
that? Why is that, Jimmy?
Okay, so I grew up a Yankee fan. Even as an adult, I'm a Yankee fan. My family, they're either Philly fans or Yankee fans. So Tino was the man in New York. And, I had watched the Yankees play a lot, so he was one of my favorite guys. So the Cardinals get him. And I'm thinking, this guy's going to be great. This guy's going to be great. And he wasn't a nice guy. And, I don't know who can remember this, but there were rumors. Yeah, he was unhappy. He'd call his boys from New York and say, St. Louis is terrible. Well, that's true because I heard him. I heard him talking in the clubhouse to one of his teammates saying, this place is a joke. This is awful. Right? About your teammates who are around you. Secondly, he wasn't very good as a Cardinal, so that was disappointing. And then another time, I'm doing a stand-up on the field when they were in the middle of a bad losing streak, and he criticized me, saying I could word it differently. So it wasn't negative. So I have a number of reasons that I would put Tino on there. Not one of my favorite guys at all.
Yeah, a lot of people threw him out there, man, on the text line. What's up with any trade rumors? Any more trade rumors, Jimmy? Now people are talking about Willie Contreras getting traded. Like we were talking about Willie earlier in the show, and I don't know. What a rough go for that guy here. I know he's getting paid, but he's kind of getting smacked around by everybody. And now there's trade rumors. I don't know. I don't know what to think of this whole situation.
I like him. I guarantee that the Cardinals are looking into that. Doesn't mean look, they're if you're John Mozeliak or Gersh, like you're looking into everything. They're not trading Goldie, but they would listen. They're not trading Arenado. They would listen. So I just don't always believe when there's a trade rumor out there that it means that it's like a deal they're trying to make happen, right? Like if you're another team and you're looking at Contreras, you call the Cardinals, all of a sudden that's a trade rumor. It doesn't mean they want it to happen. So I'm a little leery of believing that, but sure, if I'm the Cardinals and I could get something for him, and I like Herrera a lot, I would certainly listen to it. But yeah, it's a rough go for him. But let's face it, there's some inadequacies in his game that the Cardinals didn't identify that would be a problem. Maybe they thought once he was here, he could work around it. But I think you've seen that. Like I like him behind the plate. I think he's energetic. I think he does a good job of trying to block things. But whether or not he calls a good game and the starting pitchers are happy with him, that's another question, because that's sort of been an ongoing thing.
How was good old Uncle Charlie after the game? How was he feeling?
Great jumping off point for him for the rest of the season. He did admit, I'm watching it and I'm seeing, he's changing arm angles a ton. I've seen him do that a little bit, but never like that. And he said he started doing it in the Miami game, and now that his shoulder feels better, and it's something he's thought about doing, he feels like that's going to give him an advantage from giving hitters a different look. And also, like, people always say, you can't win with an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. Well, you can, and Waino has done it before. It's a question if he can spot it, like right where he wants. He did that a few times. He got called third strikes because they're looking for the curveball. That, to me, his whole thing is even when his curveball isn't great, he can still get you out with it. But if you're sitting curveball every time because you know he's not going to throw you a fastball that's going to be a strike, you can sit on it. So he had a little bit better fastball last night, and he changed arm angles, and he got through 5 innings. It was close. It was a nail biter, but he was in position to win. The bullpen blew that. But we'll see. The truth is they're not very good, and they don't have a lot of other options for that spot in the rotation. So certainly he's earned another look, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. We got to get that 200 for Cole, by the way.
Yeah. Cole's rooting against Waino. Like,
yes, he
you
is.
can't believe, Jimmy.
Oh,
yes,
He's
he is.
rooting against him like you.
He cheered when the bullpen blew it.
Yes, just for his own personal tweet.
Show fodder.
Well, I do think he takes your lead, Cam. Like, you hate anything that the Cardinals do that's fun.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, just hear me out. So he's like, people are talking about this 200. That's embarrassing. That's like the pepper grinder that Cam makes fun of. So I do think you're sort of his hero on this.
I think you're right on this.
But hold on, though. To be fair, hold on.
Here was my issue.
No, can I just say this?
Go
Because
ahead.
here's where I understand what Cole was saying. 199 and 200, there's no real big difference, but we all know the round numbers. It's great. But we're also, let's not act like this is 300 wins, okay? This isn't 700 homers for Albert Pujols. We don't really celebrate 200 wins. I'm sorry. Like, everybody celebrates 300 wins.
Wait, but be fair.
I am being fair.
Honestly think, all right, well, hear me out. Okay, because I think it's a bad analogy.
It's not.
To me, Waino's quest for 200 is like a 2. Albert's quest for 700 was a 30.
Correct.
So you can say but they're not really the same, so to say. It's not like it was, of course it's not. It's the guy who's in his final season who has an ERA of over 7 getting to a milestone so he could go out on a positive note. It has nothing to do with the quest for 700 for Albert, which was really a piece of baseball history. I think it's a bad comparison.
No, it's a great comparison because 300 wins, everybody would understand why you're going for 300 wins. That's something that maybe will never be done again in baseball because pitchers don't get decisions. They don't pitch deep. There's a million pitchers that have 200 wins. And I'm not knocking Adam Wainwright, but that is not this iconic number. It's not 500 homers. It's not 3,000 hits. It's like 2,000 hits, which is not the same.
Right, but who said it is like it? Like, I don't think it's being played up, anything like that. It's Waino's final year. It's not been good. He wanted to. My guess was he wanted to get well past 200 and thought he would at the beginning of the season. Now it's clear it's not going to happen, so maybe he can get to 200, so it's just a little side dish. I don't think it's like the quest, like people are doing hour-long specials. The quest for 200. 300 wins is a totally different thing. 700 wins, totally different. This is just a nice little side dish for a guy who's in his final season.
But it's becoming the main dish, which is fine because the season. Look, I'm not even complaining because the season is essentially over. It's all good. I want them to trade pieces.
I don't think it's over.
No, I think it's going to be super interesting. But moving forward, they're going to manipulate all of his starts to get wins. We all know they're going to. If there's 4 2/3, they're going to keep that man in to get the wins. We all know that.
Right. And, I mean, think about it. He's coming off a shoulder issue, and yesterday was supposed to be a simulated game pitching against his teammates. He's like, no, I want to start. Okay, you can start. Of course they're going to play it up, right or wrong. But I'm not saying that they're treating it like he's about to, create a new layer of baseball history. It's a team that's 11 games out, and it's a fan-favorite pitcher who's in his last season, so they're going to play it up a little bit. I get that.
Well, here's my question on this, because we know the Cardinals are going to be sellers now, but there was still a time about a month ago where we weren't sure if the Cardinals were officially down and out yet, and Adam Wainwright was still getting starts. Do we think that was solely because of the chase for 200, despite how bad he was in June?
Well, also because they don't have a lot of other options, but probably, yeah, he's Waino. He's going to get a wide berth. I mean, for good or bad. I'm not trying to deny that. But also understand, you could say, well, they've changed. They're not sellers. They have to get pitchers for next year, regardless of how close they get now. They have 2 starters for next season, okay? So they're going to be dealing guys that they're not going to have control over because they're not going to be able to sign them, and you can say that makes them a seller. They were going to do that regardless, at least with one of those guys, right? Because the cupboard is bare with starting pitching for next year, and it's hard to fix that when you have 2 and you need 5, right? So they were going to have to do some winter. Like they won 3 in a row. They have a whole different approach for the trade deadline. I don't think it would have made a difference really. I mean, if they were 2 games out or a game out, maybe. But just because you rattled off a few wins, I didn't think that's going to change their approach anyway.
And by the way, let's keep going with this Cole versus Jim thing because it's not just Waino. Yesterday, this guy did I think he did 8 hours of radio because he's on for 8 hours these days. He's going after Lance Lynn.
Oh yeah,
I'm telling you, he's taking
I get that too,
he's
though.
taking it personal. He does not. I'm dead serious here. This man Cole does not want Lance Lynn on the Cardinals in 2024.
Oh my gosh. Well,
It's true.
Can we get Seth back? Can we get Seth back?
We can listen to his
I'm a
take on his
bad
podcast.
influence on you, man.
No,
I am.
I started the Lance Lynn thing, and then you piggybacked off of me
You're
on
back
that
there
one.
with Nate, and now you're on me a lot. We're turning you into a monster. You got to get back here, Jimmy, and save this kid.
Wait. Did Cole just say that I piggybacked off him for Lance Lynn?
No, Cam did.
Yeah.
Cam's influenced me in some ways, but I was leading the charge on the Lance Lynn thing because I think you could do better. I think that you could get Julio Urias from the Dodgers and Marcus Stroman probably with about $45 million-ish coming off the salary this year. I think you can get 2 guys in the rotation that are going to be at the top of the rotation.
Who's the 5th guy then? Jake Woodford?
Guys who are
Woody!
guys who are younger than Lance Lynn.
So Liberatore.
Sure, him or rotate. You got like 3 guys competing for it, and hope that one of them figures it out.
Burleson.
On the mound?
Hey, Jimmy. Daddy Padres asked Cat about Lance Liv having the Cardinals on the no trade list. So I think Charlie already broke that bad boy down. He's got all the good teams on the no trade list.
Yeah, that just means that I can veto a trade to the Cardinals. Lance Lynn wants out of there. I'm not saying he would come here. I'm not saying Lance said there's no way the Cardinals want me back anyway. That's what he told me. There's no way, because he hurt too many feelings in his tenure here, and he said there's no way they want me back. But listen, I'm not talking about the guy who's going to be your number one. Who knows? But I know he's up there in age. I know there's a price tag. I just think a guy like that who has an edge. I like a mix where you have some guys with edge, and I also think a change of scenery would also kind of motivate Lance Lynn, and I still think there's gas left in the tank. So, yes, I'd like to see him in the rotation for next year, but I'm not saying he's the only guy you get because he will save the day. I think he's an option. The guys Cole brought up, those are solid options too. I don't know the dollars and cents involved in stuff like that because I haven't looked. I just know this. They have 2 starters next year, and we've talked about this earlier in the year. When you have 6 starters, you think we're fine, and you always need 8 starters. So you better get the arm stockpile because right now the cupboard is bare, and the Cardinals know that.
Jimmy, I know you worked your ass off last night, and you've been grinding it, but did you see anything on Tucker? Tucker talked to you last night at all? You watch anything? Just curious.
I wish I could have. I'm too cheap to get the streaming on the plane, so I didn't see anything in terms of Twitter or anything like that. And I had trouble keeping my eyes open, so no. But today, you better believe.
You're dang right.
I wanted to talk to you guys because it's been a while, and plus, since I knew Kiss said that he's going to take a pass for this week, I wanted to help. I wanted to pitch in, but I haven't caught up with Tucker or any of the other politicians that you and I bring up every day because we hate them.
We hate them. Mm-hmm. Exactly right. Exactly. What time you get? You back tomorrow?
I don't. So it's 2-hour time difference. Probably, I'll bet we get back at like 10 at night or something like that. Would be my guess. I don't know. Depends how long the game goes. But I will see you guys. On Thursday?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Back tomorrow? What are you talking about?
What?
I think he's leaving the series early?
I'm sorry. I forgot. They got one more day.
Cam meant, what time will I get home tomorrow?
No, he did not.
That's exactly right.
No, he did not. No, he did not.
That's exactly right, Jimmy.
He thought you were going to be on the show tomorrow.
No, Jimmy knows.
No, we all know.
Jimmy knows.
I can see your face.
Anyway.
All right, boys.
All right, homie. We'll see you, buddy. Later, Jimmy.
Bye.
See ya.
Oh, that's funny, man.